Hey guys, it's Vipsy, and this video is going to be a lot different than what you guys are probably used to seeing from me. I've been following a lot of ASMR people recently, and I just thought I'd give it a go because I like to write so much, so I have so much stuff that I could read. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoy this. It was a bit difficult for me to record, so any support would be much appreciated. Thank you in advance, and enjoy. My palms were sweaty. My nose was still red from my cry this morning. I hadn't brushed my hair. I don't think swishing mouthwash as I left the house really counts as tending to morning breath. I just received the call, and I left. Now I was sitting in the white, nearly empty waiting room of St. Mary's Hospital. The air smelled like bleach, so heavily I could feel it coating my lungs. My bottom lip was bleeding, and it wasn't going to stop chewing it. I just kept telling myself that I didn't know him. I wasn't lying to myself, but how could I ever believe that? No, I didn't know his name until this morning, and no, I'd never met him before, but I had, and I did. It's so strange, but I love it. I love that they call me, but as I let it sink in what they told me over the phone, I was just saddened, and so much lower than I wanted to be when this moment happened for the first time. I wanted my hair to be curled, since it looked the best that way. I wanted to be wearing stunning red lipstick and smell like roses. To be bumped into on the street and feel the surge. To see him from across the room and know when our eyes met, that's how I wanted this to happen. But instead, I was in sweat jeans that were far from clean, a shirt with a retro game plastered over it, the collar frayed and stained from years of being my favorite, and lawn shoes, stained green from freshly cut grass. My hair was balled up in a knot on the top of my head, a few strands tickling the back of my neck where I didn't care to pull it up, in one swaying in the flow of my breath as I picked at the skin around my nails. Maybe I should have put time into myself. I'd been sitting out here already for 30 minutes. I was studying the stain in the grout between two pieces of white tile when a stout woman in graphic scrubs approached me. Her hair was naturally red to complement her freckles and green eyes. Her shoes were old, feet practically bursting out of them. She had a ring on her finger, and I was instantly saddened by the sight of her. Her cheeks were flushed, and her eyes were sad as she stopped a foot away from my toes. "Are you Norah?" she asked, bringing my head up to her. "Norah Luppi?" I took a breath and dropped my hands to my seat. "Yeah, that's me." Her bright smile betrayed her sad eyes, and she asked me to follow her. I reluctantly stood, my knees suddenly weak in my headlight, but I was able to push through the ward. "Room 208, a Mr. Howard Jones," she said, reading off a clipboard and gesturing to a door. It was an average door, with a square window, with tiny wiring in the glass. I always wondered why they do that, inlay wire into hospital windows, as if they can't risk someone getting out of a locked room. I looked at the door for a while, told the nurse to leave, and just stood there, staring. There was a scratch about gurney level, metal covered, about a foot around the bottom, but nothing made this door stand out to me, and that let me down. I mustered up enough energy to push the door open. My hands were shaky, but provided to be useful in some way as they gave me passage to him. The room was bright. Everything about it was white. The tiles on the ground were white and sleek. The ceiling was white and spotless. The walls, too, were white. I busied my eyes by observing the room before the bed. I didn't have enough courage to face the patient. There were magazines in a white rack, really old issues. There was a chair that was white, with a nice blue leather cushion, like the ones in the waiting room. The crinkling noise drew my eyes to the bed, and I froze. He was half propped up on his elbow. A tube was attached to his nose to aid his breathing. His lower half was covered by a white sheet, but I could see his hospital gown. His head was smooth, hairless, with tiny freckles that trailed down his cheekbones. His lips were full but pale, as was his chest, but that wasn't what captivated me. I was feeling it. His amber eyes were locked with mine, and I could feel it. A beautiful surge of energy, so strong I could nearly see it, and I had to steady myself against the wall. Seconds passed. Beautiful seconds passed. My breathing became something difficult, and I inwardly joked that maybe I needed the ventilator. I could hear my heart beating in my ears, and it felt like a scene from a movie, all unfolding and beautiful, like I'd never thought I would be able to get. only it wasn't. It took a few more moments for me to notice the beeping. His heart rate was so high, my eyes glanced at the monitor. It looked fine to me, but then a group of nurses rushed in and pushed me out of the room. Without thinking, I throw my hand out to him, but they're putting a breathing mask on him, and one nurse is readying a syringe. Howard Jones was my soulmate, and he was dying of heart failure.